Hi everybody, and welcome to our next Terminator commentary video. Today we're going to be watching both Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, and Terminator Salvation. And I'm joined here today by my good pal, once again, Samuel Gavin. How are you, sir?
I am good, thank you, mate. I'm happy to be here. 2 more Terminator movies. Tea time.
If you're watching this in the future, we're recording this during the COVID-19.
The apocalypse.
Exactly, after Judgment Day.
Judgment Day.
Yeah, fun times. We're looking at Nick Stahl in his old man makeup and wig. I like Nick Stahl as John Connor.
I should feel safe.
Now, this is an example of something I'm already not jazzing with, which is like that slowing down the frame rate.
Yeah, it does that a lot in this movie. So here we have the arrival of the villain, the TX. I'd like to read an excerpt, if I may, from one Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the soon-to-be governor of California at this point. This scene with the enlargement of the breasts was fantastic because, again, it was one of those things, I mean, in a movie, it was used kind of like, okay, if that's what guys would like to see, if this world deals with big breasts, then so be it. I'm just going to have bigger breasts. But in the audience, it was this kind of like, immediately, you saw women sitting there telling each other, now that's a great idea. Have to check out where you get that done. Because there's some guys that like little breasts, and there's some guys that like big breasts. So wouldn't it be nice if you can play both sides, you know? Sometimes even simultaneously. Thanks, Arnold.
Oh, Arnold. This looks like they had the budget of Terminator 1, to me.
That's interesting.
Not necessarily with the CGI, but photographically, I think the photography just looks quite flat. It looks like a TV movie, to me.
T1, that is a very nice looking movie. And yeah, this looks like every other Hollywood movie that was coming out at the time that didn't have any specific creative vision.
Oh, that crash scene.
Well, that sudden sped up.
Now, I will say, I like this joke. The first time that my dad and I watched like all the Terminator movies, when that gag turned up, we both burst out laughing. And I will defend that warm feeling till the end of time. Numerous actors were supposedly in the running for the role of the TX, including Vin Diesel, Shaq, and Famke Janssen.
Well, Famke Janssen would have been interesting. I don't know about Shaq. I'm glad Famke Janssen and Shaq were up for the same role. That warms my heart.
Shaq wanted to be in every fucking movie at this point.
Yes, he did. I'm pretty sure he tried very hard to get into X-Men 2, which also came out in 2003, so... I think this is an interesting plot that I guess I kind of forgot about, is that the TX actually came back in time to kill all of John Connor's lieutenants.
Yes.
So she's not here to kill John Connor, she's here to kill all these other integral people in the Resistance, which is interesting.
The only other thing I think I've seen Nick Stahl in is Sin City.
He's very creepy in that role.
I like him in this, but I just think there's so many more interesting avenues to take John Connor.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things, when you're told for all these years that you're going to be this great revolutionary leader in the future, and then you find out that future no longer has a place for you, that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
And I think the character having his own sort of self-importance, having that struggle, is an interesting question to ask. And I think it may have been more if the direction, I'm not blaming Nick Stahl for this, but if the direction had kind of required that he show a little bit of conflict behind the eyes, that he doesn't want the future, but he kind of does. Maybe something there, and it's just not... The film doesn't have those nuances.
The future gives him a purpose, and he has a line of dialogue later that I do really like that could have been kind of his whole character arc for the movie of, you're meant to do something really important, but in order to do so, something terrible has to happen and millions of people have to die. Like, the film doesn't explore that at all.
You're John Connor.
It doesn't make any sense that this guy should become like a military leader at the end of the day.
No.
But I think it would be interesting if we had seen him at the beginning destroying a computer company. Just something.
Yeah, something. I really don't like the direction that that Kristanna Loken's getting there. Lick the blood, let it tip your lip.
Yes.
It's very sleazy.
Just a tad.
Although it's nothing compared to the fucking orgasm she's about to have. Oh! And this is bad, man. Like, they slowed the footage down because obviously they felt like his reaction was so brief.
John Connor.
Like, I don't know, shoot it again.
For whatever reason, I was expecting her to pop up and everything to go flying like Peter Parker in Spider-Man 2, all the rubble.
Hey, it's the guy that shot Uncle Ben.
What about my uncle? Did you give him a chance?
This guy has a really interesting name. I can't remember what it is.
I think it's Michael Papajohn.
Yes!
The TX can control all these different vehicles
Somehow. Because that's how the internet works.
But that being said, it does lead to by far the best sequence in the film, I think. So
Yes.
I'll give it a pass. This is all very well done. It doesn't have any score, appropriately.
Yeah.
I think this is where a lot of the budget of the movie went.
A lot of it is done practically as well.
Yes.
I mean, that's a great shot, and you
Yeah.
can tell that that's stuff that was actually done in front of a camera.
Yeah.
I feel like we don't really get scenes like this anymore, like with practical vehicles just fucking up a town.
Yeah.
Do you even remember me? Sarah Connor? Blowing up Cyberdyne? Hasta la vista, baby? Ring any bells?
So John Connor is a complete idiot in this scene.
Yeah.
What, do you guys come off an assembly line or something?
Exactly.
I must say, I really do like the part where Arnold goes, "Relax!"
So do I.
Relax. Relax.
Did you just get in?
Whoa.
Ugh. That's nice. They clearly thought that they had cut before the shot ended because Arnold's arms just dropped and he just like started walking normally. And then when it cut to the next shot, he was still holding them and pulling them in like a Terminator. So this is the scene where
Yeah.
it's just, whoa! Like, bloody hell. From 1 to 100. Oh, here comes one of those choppy frame rate slow-mos.
Later, your children will become important.
Whoa! What?
She's your wife.
Well, that didn't look particularly good.
You wanna live? Come on!
Oh, they used the line there, didn't they? Although it wasn't, "Come with me if you want to live," it was,
You
"You
wanna
want to
live?
live?
Come
Come
on."
on!"
It is your destiny.
Fuck my destiny.
Don't do it.
Don't do that.
Skynet defense system now activated.
Oh no.
Hey, what are you doing here?
Let's go for another take on that, mate. He shoots her a million times, and his reaction is, "Ugh."
She'll be back.
She'll be back.
She'll be back.
Red envelope.
I'm dying.
I do enjoy seeing the Terminators just smash each other into walls.
Yes, so do I.
Oh, that ceramic sound effect. What do we think of this shot?
Desire is irrelevant. I am a machine.
Put that at the end of the trailer. This is just bizarre.
I think the TX looking like petrified in the final moments before it blows up, I think is goofy.
You are terminated.
I think this ending is the reason. This is kind of the biggest saving grace of the film.
There's nothing here.
The ending is kind of terribly depressing. This scene, like, it's like, I mean, I feel like they spent time on this scene, like knowing that this was everyone's going to be leaving the cinema with the impact of what this scene is. Yeah, I think they do a good job.
It had spread into millions of computer servers across the planet. Ordinary computers in office buildings, dorm rooms everywhere.
Dorm rooms. Okay. That's oddly specific. Not homes. Dorm rooms.
They knew the demographic that was going to be watching this.
Not my dorm room.
Judgment Day.
Kent Farm.
Yeah, but Smallville reuses footage from this movie
Yes.
during a nightmare sequence where Lex Luthor orders a missile strike on the planet.
The battle has just begun.
I kind of like this shot because we're so used to all the human skulls amongst the rubble. It's like this is the beginning of the war and it's a Terminator skull. I kind of like that imagery.
Yeah. So, I mean, I thought that actually played a little bit better than I had remembered. I will say I think like it's not complicated enough.
No.
And that's kind of the biggest problem, is it's following two incredibly emotionally complicated films. At the end of the day, it's fine, it's just really not sporting the same headspace, the same intelligence, the same themes as the previous two. And
Yes.
if I were watching this when it had initially come out and there were no other Terminator movies to compare this to, I probably would be a bit more pissed off about that.
I mean, I think just as a action film, it's totally enjoyable. And I mean, once again, a sign of when this came out, we have a very 2000s rock song playing in the credits. That was Terminator 3, everybody. We're now here to watch Terminator Salvation. I like that this film tried to do something original, especially as compared to the last film. And setting a film post-Judgment Day seems like that's something that you would
It's
try.
the natural way to go.
Yeah, a natural progression for the series. And Helena Bonham Carter is in this film. I think I remember reading an interview with her at the time where she said Tim Burton loves the Terminator films, so
So he forced me to be
to
in
be
this film.
in this. This and Avatar came out in the same year. Two big films and leading roles in the 1 year. What happened?
2010?
And ironically, Avatar and a Terminator film. There's something quite amusing about that. I wonder if James Cameron asked him at all about his experience on this film when they were making Avatar.
God, that's not obvious. What do you think of the casting decision of Christian Bale as John Connor?
I think, if I'm casting a movie, I'd try and have Christian Bale in it. I think he's just one of the best actors alive. I don't think the material is strong enough to support him being in this role.
I don't like him.
I don't know. There's something missing. It's because he's not the main character to me. We don't get to know enough about this John.
No. We're not put in John Connor's headspace. He's way too cold, cut off, and angry.
Was that Terry Crews?
That was Terry Crews. He was just dead.
We're about to have a muddy nude Sam Worthington, I think.
He's wearing pants.
Was he? You know what? You're right. He didn't steal that guy's pants.
Was he wearing pants when he came out?
Well, just he threw that dead body down, but the dead body was still wearing pants. So he didn't steal that guy's pants.
Well, no, I mean, of course, when I say pants, I'm British.
Oh.
I'm talking about his underwear.
British slang, yes. I meant he literally didn't steal that man's trousers. Oh, okay. Well, that was very X-Men Origins Wolverine. And this is an aspect of the film I don't like. Everyone knows that he's the prophesized leader of the Resistance.
Yeah.
And Skynet are also aware that Kyle Reese is his father and that they've tried to kill John Connor for years, which to me makes literally no sense.
This is tape number 28 of Sarah Connor to my son John.
They got Linda Hamilton back to re-record the lines.
This is Kate from the last film. It treats 3 as canon as well, which is good.
Yes.
Oh, here we go. Here's the star of the movie.
Let's talk about Anton Yelchin.
The best casting in the whole movie.
Come with me if you want to live.
He feels so much like a young Michael Biehn.
Take it off! You point a gun at someone, you better be ready to pull the trigger.
Sam Worthington's jacket, his coat looks very Blade Runner-esque.
Oh yeah, he looks like K.
Yes. This was a practical piece of work, this snake Terminator thing.
Stan Winston's last film. The film looks better than I remembered. I could have sworn like the whole film was just grey.
Yeah. The colour grading here is a bit...
Yeah, this is what I think the whole film looks like in my head.
Yeah.
We only got enough for ourselves.
You point that gun at somebody, you better be ready to pull the trigger.
It does make for a neat scene here where like, oh man, they just missed the car. And then it blows up the cars.
And this is also one take.
Yes.
I don't know if we're going to get any kind of video out of this. I'm just watching a movie. I'm enjoying it.
This actress has the greatest name ever. Moon Bloodgood. They added back in the scene that would have given it an R rating.
Oh, okay.
There's a slight hint of boob.
Is that it?
That's it.
Bloody hell.
Looking for this?
It's Michael Papajohn.
Yay!
I'd love to know if he's playing the same character. Fireman turned attempted rapist.
I like that. That's a nice little hint
Yes.
at him being a Terminator.
Yes. Which, we haven't talked about this yet. They spoil that he's a Terminator in the trailer. Oh, she shoot him in the dick? Something that we should point out about this is that it was written or was made during the writer's strike anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, these are the T-600s with the rubber skin.
Nice touch. I like the continuity of Kate being like the head doctor.
Being a doctor, because she was a vet in the last one. Yeah, I like that.
This is the dumbest scene.
This is the scene. It's like it was written by 7 different people. It makes no sense. Here he's like, you think you're human?
You think you're human?
And then he's like, you're a fucking Terminator.
You were sent here to kill me. Kill the leadership.
It's so inconsistent, but nothing is as inconsistent as Sam Worthington's accent.
Trust you, Connor. Because I don't give a shit about you. I didn't even know your name till 2 days ago.
He tells him that his father is Kyle Reese, and then he thinks that this 14-year-old boy that he's been hanging out with is the father that he's talking about.
It's very awkward.
You killed my father, Kyle Reese. Kyle Reese is on a transporter heading for Skynet.
They know what you are, even if you don't.
That's so Batman, that.
Yes. Oh, here we go.
Here we go. He's so intense in this bit and he is shouting down the speaker. So I think that's why he was so intense in the sound clip, because he's trying to maintain that rage.
I wish there was a cut of this where he's just in the background fixing up those 4 lights. What the fuck?
He's gonna kick your fucking ass!
We are dead! We are all dead!
That's the son of the woman that was like,
You're already dead, everybody. You're dead already. There's no place, everything you see is gone. You're the one living in a fucking dream, Solomon, because I knew it happened.
What should I tell your men when they find out you're gone?
I'll be back.
far out.
Come with me if you want to live.
This is where it starts to feel like the same John Connor. He's setting up booby traps. He's going to ride a bike. He's listening to 80s music.
Especially like in brighter lights, brighter lighting, it's still really convincing visual effects work on his face.
Yeah.
John Connor basically doesn't even react, he just starts shooting it.
Yeah.
He needed to take a second, I think.
I think the effects here look pretty good.
Yeah, it's okay.
What's your name? Kyle Reese.
Yeah, see, that's the moment you needed.
Yes.
John!
At one point, I think they were planning on having a very different ending to this film, where Marcus just killed everyone in the film. He was going to be Skynet, and was going to be wearing the skin of John Connor. I can't remember where I read that. And then they decided, hey, that's pretty frickin' dark.
This ending was actually greenlit by the studio, but McGee eventually decided that it was just too nihilistic and disappointing for the audience. The idea of John Connor becoming a Terminator was reused in Terminator Genesis, etc., which we already know.
There is a storm on the horizon.
Well, that was Terminator Salvation.
Not a terrible film.
No, just kind of
bland.
Yeah. Well, Sam, thank you as always for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It's been good fun.
And thanks for watching, everybody. And we'll see you again next time.